Hello everyone, my name's Ken, and the purpose of today's video is to just kind of do a year in review of this project that I've been working on for a year. I started this project December of 2024, so it is now January 4th. It was actually December 21st to be exact. So we are a year and a couple of weeks since I started this project, and I kind of wanted to just do a year in review, show off what I've accomplished, things I've learned, and just kind of go over the whole project. Yeah, and so there's no script to this video. I'm just going to play the game as it's built and then just kind of talk about different systems, show those systems off, show some of the code where those things live. And yeah, that's what this will be. So if that interests you, yeah, please like, subscribe, all those things. The goals for this um, game was very specific. I wanted to learn, and I didn't really know what to create. My favorite genre is the survival genre. It was one of the genres that I really connected to when it came out. I just loved the idea of like an open world and, you know, just surviving on the land and all those different things. Just was a really new and cool concept at the time, and that really hasn't left me. So I thought, well, I want to learn how to code. Well, I already know how to code, but I wanted to learn how to build games. And since my day job is coding already, I thought, let me see if I can get into this, part of the world. Anyways, so my goals for this was to learn. I ended up building a survival-based game. I know there's hundreds of them out there in the world. Many of them are unreleased, but I don't really plan on releasing this. This was more of I wanted to build the different systems, and then those systems can be translated into other games and other ideas. I didn't want to get stuck in this ideation phase for so long, so I thought, let me just go with one of my favorite genres, build the things that I know about in that genre, and then I will learn how to build items and inventories and first person cameras and weapons and everything that comes with gaming. And those learnings and teachings could be translated to other projects in the future. So that was the goal with this game. I'm not trying to build a replica DayZ or any of those types of games. So yeah, all of that said, let's just kind of get into it. So, yeah, this is the environment. I am using a lot of PCG. So this is using Unreal Engine 5.5, and I have a handful of plugins, and I also made sure that those plugins were very high quality, and I wanted to make sure that I just wasn't getting a plugin just to get a plugin. If they were doing something really, really well, then I was going to use the plugin and I was going to keep my focus elsewhere. I love coding and I wanted to really learn C++. I knew some of it, but I just wanted to like get into the nuance and the nitty gritty of it all. And so that's the whole purpose of this project. So I am using a few plugins, mainly Brushify for landscape materials. I did get assets off of the Fabs marketplace. I was very careful with the assets I selected because I wanted to make sure it all kind of fit in the theme. What else? Oh, I'm using a plugin for weapons, like projectiles and the actual equipping of weapons, like the procedural part of it all. There was two amazing C++ plugins out there that they've done so much work that there was no point of me replicating that work. I'll shout them all out at the end here too. So let's go ahead and hit play. What was the other thing? Oh, I'm also using Ultra Dynamic Sky for the lighting and for like the weather and stuff like that. Although it's not really hooked up into any of the systems, it was just I just wanted a day and night cycle with some weather, and I was tuning the lighting prior and learning what I could, but I ended up just going with this. All right, so here we are. So we're surviving. So if I hit tab, oh, so this here is a bug. So this is not using tick. So we're just taking a snapshot of the player at the time I opened the inventory. And so now it's cached. We'll fix that. So if I run over here and see if there's any items, yes, there is a backpack. So I can put this backpack on and now I have space. My backpack has other item slots, and you can see I'm now wearing the backpack. And if I tab out and eject, you'll see that my player is also wearing the backpack. So it is a modular character, so I set up that as well. I found this player on the Fab store, and they have tons of items associated with their skeleton. The skeleton's retargeted to use the UE5 skeleton, so I had to learn all that as well. So that was a lot of fun. So that's what that looks like. As we'll progress into the game, we'll see more of his clothing and stuff change. You can hear I got footsteps. So those footsteps, oh, hold on a second, I got a zombie. So you see here we have zombies, and I can melee them. So if I just punched them, you can see they, oh, I have a trace on. I need to turn that off. So I can kill zombies and then they go away. And what's cool about the zombie system is there's a ton of zombies in the game, but they're efficient, they're optimized, they're not like spawning in and out over and over again because that's pretty heavy. There's like a pooling system that I set up where that zombie is now slotted far into the world, and it can respawn back, in other places where it is supposed to, when it's supposed to, based on a bunch of logic. So there's another zombie over there. This one here is actually stuck. He won't, or she won't actually go after me, like chase me, because I think she's stuck. But that's okay. We'll beat her up anyways. There should be maybe a weapon over here. So I also have loot spawning next to things. There's a whole loot system. So there's tiered spawning as well. Everything's data driven also. So I could put a spawn point here and then say, what tier of weapon, what category of weapon, things like that. There's an apple here. So that's another item in the world. I just pressed F and it went right into my hands. What's nice is that I can store that here. And we also are using the gas system. So we have our health, we have our hunger, hunger's here, and then our thirst. I can also right click on the item. I have to move this item or this menu over here, but and then also I have to make sure that those two don't get in the way. Again, there's refinement to be had, but I wanted to get like the core system set up. So I can drop this, and then it is here in the world. It's in the vicinity. It's also back here in the world. And if I press F, it is now in my hands. I can put it in here. I can right click it. I can hit eat, and then we'll start to see our hunger go up. All right, what else do we have? There's some loot here. Looks like some jeans. So if I place these on my body, you'll see now the character updated his jeans. And then if we tab out of our inventory and eject, you can see now that the player is wearing jeans. Okay, now if I look down, there it is. Also, the player is using motion matching. That's the new system that Unreal Engine 5 has. In fact, I converted I didn't convert. I used the motion matching system, and then it's all driven by C++. So the basic motion matching project is all Blueprint. I wanted to do things in C++. So if we go to, for example, our animation instance, you can I'll go into the header. We have all of the data needed to drive all these animations. So these are all the same things you'll find in the Blueprint version, just C++. Let's see. I'm using PCG to spawn all the trees, the grass, this landscape debris. There is also PCG for the decals that you find on the road. Here, let's go to this house. Also, I was saying earlier, those are you can hear the footprints or the footsteps. Those are based on the material that you're walking on. So I have three. I have this one that we're hearing now, which is kind of the default one. But then if I go into this house, you can hear that. Oh, we have ourselves a zombie. And then I have one for metal. Oh, she just hit me. So we just took some damage. You saw that there was that red flicker And we also have some damage done here. Now, the lighting inside these houses are not great. I need to work on that, but I do know that there's probably going to be some loot here. Here's a drink. So hover over it, just says lemonade helps with thirst. All right, let's drink it. And we'll see that our thirst now will go up. I think, oh, it's okay. I'm not going to go do that. The lighting sucks. I need to fix the lighting indoors and then also set up like a flashlight. All right, let's see what else. Yeah, I have a sprint working, so we can go fast, we can go slow, I can go backwards, I can crouch, go slow. Oh, that zombie just found us. You saw it like scream. There's no sound to it right now, but you saw that there was like, it screamed. I'll let it hit us so that way. All right. Cool. So let's keep going. I also am going to look for a weapon, like an actual gun. So I want to show that off. There's another zombie. So these zombies right now, they're not really a threat. There's too many of them they can be. You can get stuck too. Like they can crowd you. So I have it set where weapons up. We just watched that zombie spawn in. I have it set where weapons could spawn or will spawn near heli crashes. So I'm gonna go check this one over here to see if there's a weapon. That's where like the high tier loot. Oh, here's a bandage. So if I right click and use it, we'll start to see our health go up. Also, when we lose all of our thirst and or all of our hunger, it affects our actual health. It multiplies the degradation of it. What else? Oh, I see something over there. Beat the zombie up. Also, the animation for punching, not great, because since we're using a full body, the animation I'm using is not very first-person friendly. Something else I need to work on. We already have a backpack. There's a gun. So we have a gun, it's in our hands. So I'm going to run away from this zombie. Whoa. Put it in our primary slot because we have two slots. It can be primary or secondary, and then the 1 or the 2 on the keyboard, equip them into your hands. So if I press 1, we just have our weapon. Now, this is where the zombies are going to be super janky. You see that it was getting hit and it was reacting to the hit, but still sliding forward. Again, still some refinement that needs to be done. All that can be handled later. Oh, another one. We'll go into the woods here. Just because. No, there's a house here. Oh, there's some loot over here. Another bandage. Oh, of course I'm getting hit. So yeah, you see that there, like the zombies being hit and then also flying towards me still. So we'll work on that. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see where we go with this. All right, so there's another one. So I also set it up where zombies react to noise. And so because I was shooting over there, they were curious and now they're coming after me. So there's that. Here's another one. You can hear that there's flesh, so you know when you hit them. I missed. Hit. There we go. What about, let's also look at the frame rate. So it should be 60 frames, yes. So I did my best to make sure that this was working at 60 frames per second on high. That was my goal. It dips below every once in a while like it is right now. I think it's because one, I'm playing in the editor and also I'm having OBS turned on right now. But when I package the game, the FPS is perfect. The other thing I wanted to show off was I built a launcher for this game too. So if we go to the web and I go to this website that I set up, this website is only internal to us or to me, and I can download a launcher. So because I was testing this with my kids, I wanted to have a very easy way for them to just install the game and then receive updates. And I didn't want to do the whole, go into the network drive, unzip it, etc. So what I ended up doing was creating, let's see if I can, no, it's on the desktop. So it's here. So if I hit update, it's now going to download the latest version. I can also submit transmissions. So Sammy is one of my kids who was helping me play, and it was his birthday, November 25th. So right now, this is actually downloading the game from our local network, which is here. I also have this set up using Argo. So Argo is just a way to orchestrate deployments. So I have a server, a home lab with Kubernetes on it, and we use Argo in order to deploy applications and to make sure that those updates are tracked and go out easily. So that's where this site comes from. It's now installing the game. This launcher was built using Go, and it's reaching out to this website, and now we can play it. And so right now it's version 0002. Actually, we should play it because I'm probably not going to get this opportunity again, because this is an old version from probably a month and a half ago. So this is the loading screen, or the intro screen. So here, I'll hit host. And so we're in the game. Now you can see the lighting, very different. This is my old lighting that I set up. There's no zombies, so there's nothing really to do, or there's no there is loot, and then there is the inventory system and all that stuff. Mostly what I did since this version was install zombies. I built the zombies. What else did I do? There was, well, you know what I noticed? That the full screen version of this is not coming in great on OBS. That's okay. We'll still get this nice little snapshot. Yeah, you can see there's different trees. I'm not even using the spruce trees in this version. The trees are very minimal. There is the same type of loot though. The fundamentals of all this is still, so there is a bug. So I guess I fixed that. So I can still write, the menu's way over here. So these things are still working. This was just me testing the game with my kids, and we were just basically shooting each other, trying to find each other. There's also a spawning system, so if you die, it'll spawn a briefcase with all your loot, and you could, here, get this. Well, actually, I can't kill myself, right? No. Say if there were zombies, I could do it. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to let me just roam around this whole map real quick. Throw this shirt on. This is still the same. Put this here. You can see the grass is coming up on here, which I made sure to fine tune in the later version. So I have a better understanding now of how PCG graphs work fundamentally. Yeah, I'll run through here. Oh yeah, I wonder if I can also get, what was it, stat unit, and then stat FPS. Okay. Now I think this is set on low quality. Backpack. So yeah, this is the old version. Looks like we're getting 100 FPS. So if I do scale, what is it? I don't remember. Wish the autocomplete worked better. think it's like scalability flag. That's okay. It might even be on the screen and I just don't see it. No. It doesn't matter. I'll just get it out of here. So yeah, that's it. That is the old version. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this. Go back to our other one. Keep that open for now. And of course, this one here, it's also all multiplayer as well. So I'll just open this in a new editor. Actually, before we do that, let's do the sky. I think I have it set. Oh, it is. I am setting to animate the day. Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's look at it at like 8 in the morning. Oh, wait, I have it set to randomize, so never mind. But this is okay. Let's look at it at night. It will slowly, the day will turn. And then, so yeah, here is, the next version, which I guess would be 0.0.003. I also wanted to make sure that everything was modular. So let me close all this. We are using the gameplay ability system. I tried to create everything in a modular way. So our combat component is in the combat section. When the player, swings, there's an anim notify state. This is it here. When this ticks, so basically there's a few frames that we're tracking the fist, and that's going to fire this function here. And then this is where we're going to process the melee attack frame from the combat component. The combat component will talk to our hit handler system, which is going to be in the weapons for now. This needs to be moved. But I do have weapons. We have our vicinity system. Let's see. We've got some audio. So I was playing with voice chat, but I kind of gave up on that. That's a whole world that I will get into later. Here's the footstep system. The character has, like I said earlier, the animation instance is all C++. It's using motion matching. I have all of the choosers and databases all set up for that. Oops. We have a depth component. Oh, I should show that off real quick. So if I hit play, oh, there we go. Nice little daytime. So I will find a zombie. Actually, I will pick up some loot first, which we're not going to find here. No. So the loot system is smart enough to know like where players are and if they're looking at the loot spots, so it won't spawn things there. Because you don't want to like just see loot spawn, kind of like that zombie earlier. I need to fix that. Oh, I also need to fix this. That car is not touching. All right, so I have a drink, and I'm gonna let this zombie beat me up. So it's gonna take a few hits. We will show off the death screen, and then the respawning. So we gotta remember where we are too. So we are on this corner. Okay. All right, kill me now, and I'm dead. And there's a nice little vignette fade away. And now the zombie has no longer targeted us and is now going to go walk away. The zombies are also pretty cool where they have a home location, they have a suspicious location, they have the little bit of logic. I'll actually show that off too. So if I hit respawn, actually we should do this pretty quick. Oh, look, we spawn right here. Just show it real fast. I think I have it set as a 2-minute timer. So in 2 minutes, my body will go away. And so look, this zombie, oh, it found me. And here's my player. Beat her up. Okay, now if I hit tab, you see there's a corpse and I can get my item back. If you look down, there's my old body, and then there's the briefcase. Can't actually pick the briefcase up or anything. That's just there to show us our items. Zombies. Yeah, let me show you the zombies real quick. because this was kind of fun playing with enemy AI. It's going to be under blueprints, zombie, AI. Here's the little brain. So we have it set where um, if the zombie has a target, like an enemy set, it'll do a few things. If it's the first time it saw this person, it'll do a scream state, and then it'll chase the player unless it's fighting. There's a fight loop. And so it's using the ability system. So it's anytime it hits the player, it's going to activate an ability. It's going to hurt the player. We're going to respond to that. It's also going to chase the player. So we can set the movement speed in this graph as well. If the target is not acquired, but we do hear a sound, the enemy will investigate suspicious sounds. And there's a whole sequence here that it will do. It'll go to the place that it heard the sound, and it will run some environment queries to see the next place it should look at. And what's cool is it will also intelligently look at places that are not within the zombie's like sight, but it will like there's this weird corner that it's nearby. It'll it will put more weight to those areas than just like blindly moving in this one direction. So eventually, if it doesn't find what it's looking for, it just does back a patrol. So it will move to its home location. So wherever the zombie originally spawned, it knows where it lives, and it will 3 times it will patrol its area. So it always goes back home after 3 patrols. So that's how we keep zombies kind of in areas where the loot is. We don't want them to like wander off into the other side of the map. And then yeah, here's some like whether or not the zombie's stunned, what its home location is, what patrol location, if there was a suspicious activity location, and some other stuff, whether or not it screamed. We don't want it to constantly scream. What else do we got? What else can I show? I mean, everything's data driven. So there's items. These are the items table right now. It's using instant struts. Most things that I are able to use instant struts, I'm using it where necessary. What else? Let's go back to our content browser. There is our loot table. So, for example, civilian house. So this has 2 types of loot. Actually, it has a bandage and then nothing. Not sure why that was there. Oh, probably because I see lemonade, nothing, and then a bandage. Okay, because I wanted there to be a possibility of nothing spawning. You can see the weights are not actually set, so I could increase the weight of this where I can say spawn nothing more than lemonade and bandage. But we'll just leave it there. Um, these are all the different. So like this is the loot for near vehicles. You can find bandages, lemonade, and jeans. These are all referencing this table. Um, yeah, I think that might be it. Let's look here. This is got some. This is our character components visuals or visuals component, which is if I go to the character blueprint here, we can see that our character is actually made up of all of these different components. There's our base player, but we got legs, and this is where we swap clothes and things like that. So when they equip clothes, this is where it's all happening here. Yeah, we have a game instance, game mode. These are our blueprint items. This is the loot spawner. So this is just a blueprint for dragging it out into the world, and then you assign it. Let me go back to it. You assign it what it's supposed to spawn. So if I find one in the world, so let's look for a loot spawner by the vehicle. So that's just a dot, but this has, let's scroll. Is it here? Yeah. It's there's a gameplay tag, or I guess this, I don't know if it's a gameplay tag. This is, yeah. So it's using the loot table vehicle tag, and that's how we determine which data table to look into to spawn loot here. Zombies, they also are using, so there is a zombie spawn point, very similar. So zombies are also data driven. So I can show you that. This is, we only have one zombie, but we could have many zombies and we can have different types of zombies. This is just one of them. And this zombie is just the one of the other meshes that I had, but you can reference the animation class, the zombie class, if there's a separate behavioral tree, um, how much damage they do, what other attributes we can add more. Then yeah, these, I was messing with sound earlier. These are all working, but I don't have good sound. That's a whole genre that I'm not super into at the moment. But these do work, but the mix and things like that are just, they're not very pleasant to listen to in game. So that needs a lot of work, but I do fundamentally understand how this all works. Let's keep going. Let's see, physics, curves. I think this is just for, this is being used to determine, um, like what, I think the only thing used in this right now is the footprint system. Yeah, I think it might be it. Oh, our PCG, let's check that out real fast. So the only one I'm using, I've been playing with other ones, but the only one I'm using is the landscape one. And so this is the PCG system I'm using now. The way I use it, I get our landscape data. I have it partitioned because I was playing with open world maps before. So I just kept it. We have a couple of landscape types. So I don't know if this, by the way, is the correct way of doing things, but I tend to like to grab the data I need. And if I'm going to reuse that same data, I just throw them into these like named reroutes or variables. I don't know what the proper term is in this graph. But anyways, there's, you can define a line of water. Anything below that line are these points. Anything above that line is land. We also have tags for no PCG. So this car, in fact, let me put that down. This car will have a tag on it called no PCG, which will get picked up here and then saved here. And that will allow me, if I hit D, and I go to it, it'll allow me to make sure things don't spawn here around it. So no grass, no rocks, things like that. So let's go back, undo that. There we go. And so you can see like the grass and stuff like that is not spawning around it. Okay. We've got mud. So I'm using the mud landscape layer. So when I paint mud out into the world, I don't want things growing on it like grass. So I use that data to basically difference out the mud or the grass. And then we've got trees. Um, yeah, there's not really too much to talk about here. There's just basic like filtering, getting points. I don't know if I'm using these totally correctly. I think it's better to like change your bounds first and then filter. Uh, I don't know. Still kind of learning that stuff. But yeah, we got grass. And then this is our main road spline. So this is the raw spline data. And then I did a cleaner version where it like narrows the spline a bit more. Uh, Mostly because the road spline like goes way out over here. And so I still want that data when I need it, but I also just want to know like what's here as well. So that is why I'm doing that. Yeah, and then we're gonna get the landscape points, and we're gonna spawn rocks, and then same thing with landscape debris. Landscape debris are things like this roots, this these little rocks here. Oops. We're just removing a bunch of stuff that's touching the road, a lot of filtering, then more projection. Then there's road debris. I actually have this turned off because I was playing with this earlier, but if I enable it, it doesn't look great, but that is like this stuff here. So I haven't really refined that too much, so I ended up just disabling it for now. And then I just finished doing cracks. So this is decals. So if we look at the road, there's these cracks here. Um, these are all driven by PCG as well. Yeah, and so that is the PCG graph. Let me see all. Um, yeah, you can see that the world is not very big. I wanted to create just a simple little world so that way I can, play. Let me just do another quick overview to see if I missed anything. Not really. I guess I could. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Close. Oh, I did that. Pin. Move you back here. Close. Exit. Okay. What else? So, death component, equipment component. That was just a big one. So, this was probably the hardest thing I've had to do. But there is all the equipment driven in the game. So if I hit play, and I open this up, when there's like shirts and things like that, those are all items. Those are item instances actually that just happen to be actors in the world, but also there are UI elements in the UI. But when you actually equip an item, you need to track all that stuff. So that's where the equipment component comes in. So the equipment component tracks all of the owned items, all of your equipped items, any containers, and then we're doing we have a lot of different functionality to see um, just to move items between slots back into the game, back into the world, who owns things, stuff like that. So there's item actions, which is here. So yeah, so this was probably the most challenging component I've ever had to create, but very rewarding because I have a pretty cool inventory system that I fundamentally can understand now. Um, Another cool one was probably there is an interaction system. The interaction system is basically just shooting a trace out into the world, and then if the component or the thing that you're hitting with that trace is subscribed to the interaction interface, you can open a door. This door needs some tweaking, but it does work. Again, refinement comes later. Fundamentally, things are working. So that's kind of a philosophy I try to follow. Crawl first, sprint later. Um, let's see. The UI was also pretty difficult with the items and all that because I had to create basically a bunch of parent classes, which was fine, but because there's like vicinity items, vicinity slots, equipment items, equipment slots, container items, container slots, containers themselves, and all of those have to interact with each other. I needed to make sure that I'm not duplicating all of this logic. So we have these parent classes here, which the if we go into the widgets, the inventory widgets, and we go to like equipment slot, for example, if I go to the header, you can see that it is a child of draggable item slot. And so this just comes with a ton of functionality now. So if I add more slots or more, maybe there's like crafting and things like that, I can just, I can very quickly spin up the UI for that without having to duplicate all that logic again. The dragging, the dropping, the context menus, the hovers, and all that stuff. There's the item actions menu. There's the player preview. Wonder if I can quickly turn that on tick. I'll do that later. Yeah, and then the main inventory widget itself. This is all also using the model view controller system. So there's a inventory widget controller that drives all of the data. So that way the UI front end part of it is completely separate from the data model side of things. The inventory widget controller is the middle person, just going back and forth, collecting the data and broadcasting it back up. The inventory widget also listens to broadcast from models and then will broadcast those changes up. Got some errors here I have to look into. Um, I think there's a vicinity component that there's our weapons. Yeah, and then our main zombie system. So that Yeah, that pretty much does it. That is the game in a nutshell. This was basically 1 year worth of work. I'm extremely proud of what I was able to accomplish in that 1 year. And I don't really know what my goals are again, or what my goals are for this year, but um, yeah, we'll see how it just kind of naturally evolves. Maybe I continue building on this project, or maybe I start something new. I'm not totally sure, but just wanted to kind of document my growth here. And yeah, thank you for watching and listening. Until next time.